How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we do have another community questions video for you guys. So for those of you that don't know, this is where I post a question on my community section on YouTube, and then we'll go through those comments and see what things you've said, and we'll talk about them a little bit. It's really interesting to read through what you guys all think, so hopefully you enjoy. The question that I've put on there today was, what are some items you would love adding to the game that do not exist? For example, I put unmagic notepaper. Now, of course, unmagic notepaper would be probably ridiculously overpowered, but sometimes it would be super convenient. So that's the idea of this. Let's see what you guys have left in the comments for me to read through. I think this is going to be a really interesting one. But anyway, if you enjoy the video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you do enjoy this sort of video, there's a full playlist of them. I believe the playlist is called Community Videos. Take a look through those and hope you enjoy. So the first comment is from Darth Wolfus, and he says an essence of finality for rings that would combine any 2 to 3 ring effects. Could be any combination of Ring of Death, Luck of the Dwarves, Vigor, basically any ring that's available. So you could still have multiple of them for all your switches, it would just take up less space. He then says also a Mark of War consumable that costs say 10 or 20k marks and then lets you redeem it for 1 free death. Both of these are freaking amazing, in all honesty. I actually would love both of these into the game. The essence of finality for rings I think could be incredibly useful. It would actually help so much. It would mean you could use the awesome new rings that Jagex has actually added to the game while also having the Ring of Death effect, which, let's be honest, is the main problem with rings at the moment. You've got all these amazing rings that are really good. They help you out a hell of a lot in PvM, but you can't use them because they've got the Ring of Death in there, and the price of Ring of Death has just come down a hell of a lot as well. So it just kind of makes you feel like you have to camp that, because if you don't camp it, you only have 400k death cost with it, but without it, you end up losing about 10 mil depending on how much your gear is. Obviously, it depends on each individual person, but if you're in a position where you want to be using these other rings, there's a good chance that your death costs are going to be about 10 mil, and that's probably on a good day. So being able to combine these ring effects, having Ring of Death mixed with maybe a Channeler's Ring for myself, and maybe just limiting it to the 2 effects, and what it would do is combine the effects but not the stats, and you would probably have to get these stats of, say, whatever the worst ring is. For example, if you had the Channeler's Ring, you would then have the stats of just the Ring of Death rather than Channeler's Ring, but you still have the Channeler's Ring effect and the Ring of Death effect at the same time. This way you would kind of be sacrificing a few stats to carry on the effect, but you wouldn't have to actually be worried about dying and losing that Ring of Death effect. At the same time, you could do this with Luck of the Dwarves, and you can have it with your Ring of Death as well, which we already have like a relic for, but at the same time, it would just mean that you can keep that other relic as well. I think this is a really cool idea. I think it would definitely go well in the game, but we'll have to see what Jagex actually does with it. Even if they just fix death costs, it wouldn't be a problem. Like, just fix death costs, we wouldn't have to worry about Ring of Death too much, and we could just take these better rings anyway. But something definitely needs to be done, because if I added the rings, it just makes sense if we could actually use them without having to worry too much. As for the Mark of War consumable, this is such a good idea. I think this is great. Normally, if you are PvMing, you will die maybe, once an hour, depending where you are. If you're learning, maybe a bit more, but if you're learning, then you bring Ring of Death, right? But if you want to use these other rings, adding a consumable to Marks of War to guarantee that the next death you've got is actually going to be, like, free, this would be worth it. I'd pay more. I'd pay like 30k, 40k Marks of War for this. You just have to play safe, but if you did die and mess up, then hey, at least you haven't lost 10, 20 mil. You lose some Marks of War that you would have to then regain by doing more PvM. I just think this is a really good failsafe, and I think this is a genius idea. What do you guys think about this, the Marks of War thing? I think this is genius. I'm interested in seeing what you guys think. Absolutely typical that I spend ages on the first comment, but the second comment says, well, with the new boss coming out being a skilling boss, I guess I would like to see aura resets for skilling auras. Even without the boss, some skilling aura resets would be lovely. So I didn't even know before this, and to be honest, this kind of says a lot about how much skilling I do, but I didn't realize that you couldn't reset skilling auras compared to the combat ones. I didn't realize resets were only for combat auras, and the fact that you can't reset skilling auras is just insane. I don't see why not. It feels like skillers really get a bad side to this game. Like, it feels like you guys are kind of forgotten just a little bit, but with the new skilling boss coming out, hopefully something like that will happen, and hopefully they are looking a little bit more into stuff for skillers to actually do. So I'm interested in seeing how this goes, but I mean, you could be on something here. This may be something we see, especially if the skilling auras are going to be useful at the boss. It would then maybe make sense to just add one more reset to the Marks of War even, maybe, and then making it so you can reset things there, and then maybe add like Marks of War to skilling, so you can like maybe get a little bit as you AFK skill over time. You get 1 Mark of War here and there. I don't know how that would work, but either way, being able to reset your skilling auras, especially if they do work at the boss and help out there, would probably be pretty damn awesome. The next comment says, boots of speed. Increase your run speed by 20 to 25%. The downside would be that it drains your run energy faster as well. Not usable in the wilderness or PvP. I feel like I never have to have a reason to use stamina pots or mint cake. Could make these items better, could work on a charge for Silverhawk feathers. This is actually a really cool idea. I don't know what much use it would have other than for people doing like clues maybe, or quests. It'd be really good for quests, to be fair, getting around a lot easier. But in saying that, it probably would have some use in PvM as well. Getting to places a bit quicker would likely be a really useful thing to actually have available to yourself, so I can see this being useful in quite a few places, especially like our Glade-Store, getting around those ice beams. This could definitely be something that would be useful there. The idea of using Silverhawk feathers to charge it is really cool as well, because those aren't cheap, but this would definitely be something that would probably need to have a fairly expensive upkeep, along with the use of stamina pots and mint cakes to keep your own energy high. This is definitely something that I would actually be interested in, even if it was just to help you get around things like clue scrolls and the quests and stuff a hell of a lot quicker. I could see use for this, and I find this like a really interesting idea, especially if it did something with agility as well. Maybe it could make agility a little bit more relevant other than just run energy and shortcuts. What do you guys think? Get in the comments on this one. I'm very interested in seeing what you all think on this. The next comment comes from Sparty Pants, and he says, a quiver that can hold more than one type of ammunition, maybe 2 or 3. The quiver could have its own interface for you to select which bolt you want to use. So I like the idea of this, being able to put more than one type of ammo in the actual quiver. It would save inventory space, and it would probably be it'd just be a lot more convenient. Getting inventory space back, especially with range and all the switches and stuff, would be super useful. But that being said, it would be kind of difficult to bolt switch between fights, unless there was a way to actually do it and you could keybind maybe the quiver itself would then have its own keybind, so you could set like number 1, number 2, and number 3 as an example to maybe the different types of bolts. So you'd have like section 1 would be your ruby bolts, 2 hydrix, and 3 onyx, just as an example, and then you could actually just switch them in and out before you go into whichever boss fight you wanted to. That could maybe work. That could be probably pretty useful, and you could have to keybind it, but it would be another 3 keybinds, and it would also make it so the people who click bolt switches, like me, because I just don't want to keybind bolt switches as well, you would have to have keybinds. So I don't know how that would work in that sense. But as for the item, I really do actually like the idea of the item. I think it would be really cool, and anything that saves inventory space I am absolutely interested in. The next comment says, a master skilling outfit that becomes craftable once all skilling outfits have been created, and combines all their effects into one single master of all outfits that has wings on it for no reason. Okay, so for the wings, I don't know about that one. It's not really anything I'd be interested in for that, but I know some people would. Maybe make that a bit toggleable. But as for the actual idea of the actual item itself, the skilling outfit that once you've crafted them all, it just has all the effects together, this would be so convenient. I'm really not sure how it would go down at the new boss that's coming out with the skilling and stuff. I feel like it might be a little bit overpowered in that sense. If everyone just had one outfit that buffed every single style, it'd kind of make it feel like maybe the inventory setup wasn't so important. But at the same time, this would be freaking useful. Maybe if you could use this outside of any skilling boss encounters, assuming they plan on adding more in the future. If it was only allowed to be used outside of that, then maybe that could be something. So it would make your general skilling stuff a lot more convenient. You wouldn't have to worry about getting the right outfit. You could just chuck that on. If you need to do herb lore, you just chuck that on. If you need to do runecrafting, that's the same thing as well. And it would just sort of save you a lot of bank space as well. But like I say, with the actual skilling bosses, I feel like having the switches and stuff and having the actual different outfits, and then maybe even once you go in, you would have 2 people using the mining outfit, 2 people using the fishing outfit, that sort of thing. That would probably be something that would be interesting in the actual boss fight, and this could probably be a bit overpowered there. But at the same time, I mean, if you could just disable it for that, and they had to bring that specific stuff with you, then I don't see a problem with it. I feel like this is just a super convenient thing that you could do, and like you say, if you wanted your wings on it, then just have your freaking wings on it as well. The next comment comes from That One Titan, and you say the equivalent of platinum tokens but for RuneScape 3, but it'd be nice if they were 1 mil instead. So for anyone who doesn't know, platinum tokens are a currency in old school RuneScape where you can take your coins to a banker at the Grand Exchange, or I guess any banker probably, and you can actually convert your coins into platinum tokens. And I believe 1 platinum token is about 100k. I'm not absolutely like spot on sure with that, but they are basically a hell of a lot more than just coins. And of course, the stack being 2147 0.7 mil is the absolute most that you can get, it is probably convenient to be able to do that. So of course we have spirit shards in the game, and that's basically what we use for currency once you get past max cash. It would be a little bit more convenient if we could just go straight to a banker, talk to that banker, and then have our coins converted. Not only that, it would also make it a little bit easier to keep track of how much is actually being traded. I'm sure once you've been trading with it a lot, you can sort of see straight away exactly how much spirit shards is for coins. But for me personally, I've only had to do that about twice, and being able to actually like sit there and see how much that spirit shards is, it's a bit stressful having to make sure that you're actually giving the right amount when you're giving some to someone, or when you're actually trying to take spirit shards from someone, just making sure that they're giving you the right amount as well. So actually having something that's a nice round number like 1 mil per platinum token would be super useful, nice and easy to keep track of, and I feel like this would be something that would be quite useful to add to the game. Seeing as, especially in RuneScape 3, inflation's quite high. Cash does not go as far as it used to. One ability can actually end up costing you nearly 2 bill as it is, and a staff, for example, at the moment, the staff of Armadillo is about 6 bill. That is insane. So to actually buy stuff at the end game, you do need to actually use spirit shards to trade. It kind of makes coins feel a little bit like worthless at the point, because you can have 2.1 bill is like the most coins you can actually trade, and it kind of makes it feel like, I don't know, spirit shards are more important than coins. It's just, I don't know, why not just remove coins and make spirit shards the currency? I mean, obviously we can't do that, but it's just all very strange. The next comment says, shadowy key and full gilded, they definitely don't exist for me. So I assume you're talking about your clue scrolls and of course your tetra compasses as well. That's unfortunately, I haven't got it yet, but definitely on the next one, man. Definitely on the next one. But basically you said some sort of skilling abilities, like in Final Fantasy 14, something like a +1 or 2 base yield on ores and herbs, etc. So this could actually be pretty interesting, and it's something that I feel could fit into the game pretty well. Having abilities for skilling could be really cool, even if it was just something that you pop every now and again, and it gives a little bit of a buff. For example, like you said that you could get a +1 or +2 base yield on ores and herbs, all that sort of stuff. So you'd use an ability that maybe has a 1 minute cooldown, and then for 30 seconds, you would actually get 2 logs from a tree rather than just 1, or 2 ores from a rock rather than just 1. And this would probably end up stacking with things like stone spirits, all that sort of good stuff as well. But basically just giving you abilities that you can use throughout skilling to help you get through and make it a bit more efficient if you're actually paying attention. Of course, you can still AFK, that sort of thing. But using the abilities would just make it more efficient and make your time feel a little bit more used, and it probably makes skillers enjoy the game a little bit more as well. You've got stuff to actually pay attention to while you're doing it, rather than literally your game being click on a rock and then watch Netflix or do something else on a main account. I feel like this could be a lot more interesting. I feel like there'd be a lot more skillers in the game if this was a thing as well. Maybe abilities could be things like increased mining speed or wood cutting speed, or just gathering speed in general for a certain amount of time. Or even if you just had it so when you're doing mining, for example, you could keep your stamina at max rather than having to actually keep clicking on the rock. You could just use an ability and it would allow it to stay at max for 10 seconds or something like that. And then maybe you could even have things like ultimate abilities that would send resources straight to the bank for 30 seconds. Maybe if it's just like a specific area. I don't know what abilities exactly you could include in this, but I feel like it would be really cool, and I'd actually like to see skilling actually have abilities in the game, even if it's just purely out of interest of how it would actually work. I don't know, what do you guys think? How would this work? Do you think it would be interesting? Would you be interested in doing more skilling if you did actually have abilities to work with and mess around with? But then again, at the same time, do we really want to have like a rotation for mining, an efficient rotation that everyone breaks down and then goes, right, you have to be doing this and you have to be doing this at this time? Maybe it could get a little bit out of hand. What do you guys think? Okay, we're going to make this our last comment, and it is from Wolfie, and you say combat ability dies or different animations would be sick. This is actually something that's been mentioned in the past on something else. I can't remember what video it was on at all, but this is really cool, and it's something that I talked about for a while last time, so I'll try and keep it a little bit short. But at the same time, having different animations, like animation packs, for example, on your abilities would be, I'd love it. It'd be great. It'd make it feel a little bit more mixed up, and you'd also see people doing different animations for their abilities. It would just make the game feel a little bit more like there's more variety in it for people when they're doing PvM or any sort of combat. Or I mean, we have teleport animations, we have gathering animations, so you can like do mining with different sort of animations and stuff like that as well. Why not have it on your abilities? I feel like it could be really cool, and I'd actually really enjoy this. And you've said combat ability dies. Maybe this would be something that's tradable, and you actually have to apply it to maybe a weapon. And then if you have that weapon equipped, say if it was a staff, then Dragon Breath would look different, or Wild Magic would look different. only when you're using that weapon. That could be something that's interesting as well. And maybe stuff like this could actually be like a reward from a mini game, maybe like a mini game that they want to revive. You could add stuff like this. I don't really know, but I feel like this would be really interesting, and I'd definitely work on stuff just to be able to unlock this sort of thing. I would find it really useful, whether it's tradable or not, whether it was just something that you had to spend hours trying to unlock, or whether it was just on the Solomon store. I would probably buy a few bonds in game for this, and then redeem them, get some rune coins, and then probably buy myself some packs, some animation packs, that sort of thing. I'd find it really cool. What do you guys think? Would there be any issues with this? Would you enjoy this, or would you find it a little bit concerning? As long as Jagex didn't take it too far and make it look stupid, like we don't want to be using wild magic, and rather than shooting out fireballs from your staff, you're throwing rubber ducks at something. I mean, we don't want that, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, guys, like I said, that was going to be our last comment. I hope you all enjoyed this section. Like this post on YouTube has a hell of a lot of comments. There was about 100 comments, so I couldn't get through anywhere near all of them at all. So if you're interested, let me know, and I can definitely do a part 2. Maybe even if you're interested after that, we could do a part 3. I don't know. There's so many comments, and they're all so damn good. I barely had to scroll to find all like loads of comments that are in here that I could have used. So it was really hard for me to pick which ones I wanted to go through. But if you are interested in a part 2, let me know. Leave a like on the video as well. That'll help too. Because if the video does get a lot of likes, then of course I'm going to be thinking, damn, yep, time to make a part 2 for this as well. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you're interested in videos like this, there's a full playlist like I mentioned earlier, which is called Community Videos on my channel. Just click on that and there's a hell of a lot of videos just like this. Get involved in the next community post, keep an eye out for it, and you may get picked for the next one. But otherwise, guys, thank you to my channel members for the extra support. I really appreciate it. You guys' names will be on screen right now, as always, so thank you all so much for that extra support. As for everyone else, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.